Welcome to another episode of Walleye Chronicles powered by Lure Lipstick. This week we have Mr. Ben Schmoldt of Cedar Lake Sales in Wisconsin. He is the head rigger over there, and he's going to teach us all about rigging our boats. So sit back and enjoy. Ben Schmoldt, everybody. How you doing today, Ben?
Pretty good, Matt. Yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful. So I've always wanted to have one of you guys on because you guys are like I don't know how to call you, the Yoda of the fishing world. Everybody has one of you that they talk to and that they trust, and they're on speed dial. And you guys always, no matter what, are able to pick up the phone and fix anything over the phone. Why is that?
It's all about a job, man. My big thing is trying to get people out on the water and enjoy it.
So when you get just off the, well, actually, we'll start with you first. So where'd you grow up and where'd you start fishing?
So I'm born and raised in West Bend, Wisconsin, 10 miles from the shop. I started fishing in 1999 in tournaments. But yeah, my dad worked at Harley Davidson. And on the weekends, that's when we got to see him, and he'd take us out Lake Michigan. We go troll salmon.
Awesome. So do you have any like times when just with your buddies and stuff, in town? Well, I don't know if you have much for town fishing there, but fishing as a kid growing up. Other than that, did you ever like hang out with the bros and sneak down to creeks at all, or anything like that?
Yeah, we did a lot of fishing on the Milwaukee River. It was a block from our house, so you'd get on your pedal bike and drive down there and cast spoons for northerns. So pretty much that, and then it was family vacations and taking friends up. We fished a lot up in the UP, Hancock and Holton area.
Nice. Are you tired of the same old plastic patterns and colors? Well, check out lurelipstick.com. You'll find the best hand-painted infused plastics on the market. And the best part, they're made right here in Michigan. New for this year, the Pro Swimmer and Jerk Shad model to go along with the world-famous Split Tail series. Lure Lipstick also has a wide variety of attractants in wax and liquids. And remember, they're the home of the famous perch jelly. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, Lure Lipstick. Get hit on. So what made you want to get into tournament fishing?
Just love dealing with boats, really. I mean, when I before I graduated for high school, I was on an E67 program and wrote a letter down at the time to OMC down in Sturtevant, and they got me in contact with Cedar Lake Sales, and I did a job shadowing program. So got involved with that. Came in here, job shadowed, asked them if they were looking for somebody. Got started with Cedar Lake Sales back while I was still in high school.
Wow.
And we had a customer that was a guide, and he would take the owners, Brian and Al and Don Bell, fishing. And me and him ended up hooking up because I rigged his boat for him. And he asked me if I wanted to fish tournaments, and that's how it all got started.
So, okay, obviously you're an older gentleman. I'm an older gentleman. I'm guessing rigging boats back in the day is a hell of a lot different than it is now.
Oh yeah. Like, on average, guys would literally turn around, and if they were buying a fishing boat, they had one or two graphs on it. At that time, you didn't even have side imaging. It was all 2D sonar. Back all the way to, Loran units, GPS that gave you a map of the lake that looked like a square. And now you got all these guys, a lot of them. I mean, on average, let's say you're putting 3 to 4 locators on a boat, some up to 6 with forward-facing sonar. But a lot more electronics. Boats have changed a lot.
Right. What's helped the most out? Has it been, my gather would be that batteries getting lighter has been a lot easier over the last couple of years.
Batteries getting a lot lighter, and the subject always comes up: lithium, AGM, lead acid batteries. Everybody has their own opinion about it. I don't know if there really is a true fact about it. The big thing that I look at personally myself is weight. which you just brought up. These boats, a lot of boat companies, manufacturers, they're throwing lead acid batteries in the front. That's how they're testing their boat. So as these boats get lighter in the front, they don't necessarily run the same.
Gotcha.
You're hopping more on a wave versus letting the boat cut a wave. That's why you're seeing more and more boats. In my opinion, guys putting zip wakes on trim tabs, trying to keep the front down because they're lightening the front of their boat up.
Yep. But as far as rigging a boat, has that helped the most, or is like the Wi-Fi stuff helped, or kind of what's made your life easier over the years? What of all this technology, all these extra things you got to put on, what's made it easier to do all that stuff?
With the with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I mean, Hummingbird and Lowrance. I know you can Wi-Fi bird. You still got to run Ethernet cord, so it's a little tougher than Lowrance and Garmin. Garmin with their new trolling motor system, there's no wires to run, no Ethernet cables to run back to the depth finders and through the sidewalls and under front decks. So that made it a lot easier that way. Bluetoothing your sonar, being able to run one transducer, two graphs, not running cords, still picking up 2D on it.
I gotcha. So has it gotten easier over the time then? Would you say I mean, obviously there's more stuff you put on, but has it gone easier? Because you guys must have the turbos.
It's easier, but more time consuming with how many locators and toys people are putting on them. I think everybody's, with all the articles, all the talk about forward facing sonar. I mean, if we rig a boat that doesn't have it, it's kind of surprising, really. Everybody's getting it, which you and I, I'm sure, I have it on my boat. I'm sure you have it on your boat. It's a game changer, that's for sure. There's guys that are real good at it, and there's guys that are just trying to learn it, and it can get frustrating. I mean, sitting there watching a jig or watching fish swim past your lures and they don't bite.
Right.
I kind of see you're chuckling about it. So, I mean, you probably had that too, where you spend more time trying to get one fish to bite, and there's guys that understand it good enough, where they pull in, check out a pot of fish, cast at them. If the fish doesn't go after it, boom, they're out there. I think it makes more people that are watching the screen spend more time on that pot of fish that aren't feeding.
Yeah. For sure can get hung up in those areas. It's funny because you talk about those guys that that are the top of the apex of the world, and I wonder sometimes, listen to them talk or listen to them fish, if I will ever be able to catch up to some of these guys. I mean, they are just a lightning ahead of everybody else at the current pace. And I don't know if it's because I'm an older gentleman and video games weren't my thing, or if I just got a little slow. I felt like I was pretty quick to forward-facing sonar, but I don't think I was quick to use it the way they're using it now. To me, it was a way to find fish and then go to your normal tactics. Didn't really dawn on me till I started watching term results that you actually use them to watch them catch the fish. That was kind of different for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do a lot of casting. I'm big into my trolling. I literally use mine, the precision app for trolling, for line out where your lure's running. It's accurate, but only if your line counters, every time you're checking your line counters. So we literally turn around and we point it backwards, set it where we want it, send the board out. My live scope comes out of water. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't use it, but I don't use it like some of these guys that are casting rock humps, casting fish out on flats.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy that way. So have you found it difficult to keep up with sticking with the trolling world?
It's definitely tougher. I mean, if you make a pass, you're going quite a distance before you turn around where the guys that can find a pot of fish and cast on them. So we haven't done it too much, but if we find a small pod that's going, I mean, we've casted for them. I'm not saying we're great at it, but I usually can get them trolling and not casting, but that's the way things go. But the guys that can pull in there and use it enough and know how to change the settings, they're definitely up on the top.
Right. I think that's what you said there, the key. They change the settings and always I was surprised. I spent some time with Landsteiner in the boat in Green Bay for the championship, and he was changing his stuff pretty much everywhere we went, nonstop, always changing, always zooming, always. I was surprised at how much that he was actually moving and changing things around. Where I kind of thought once you got the body of water, you got your clarity, you get your stuff set. That's kind of how it is. But he was zooming in and out and doing all kinds of things. Pushing the how far out he was, bringing it back, zooming. It was like, wow, you really. I see why they want him up high now, so you have to bend over to press all those buttons.
Right.
So are you installing
and
Go ahead.
mounts are crazy. I mean, everybody's building mounts, everybody's building poles, everybody's building shuttles, it seems like, and you have your top companies that have been doing it for a while that have improved their stuff. And then you got newer guys that they're building nice stuff, but they haven't been in it long enough to have their name out there.
Right. Yeah, it was funny when it first came out. Everything was like plastic printed, and now everything's nice and metal and powder coated and looks good.
Right.
At the start, all that stuff was all just, I'm going to put it on a machine and have some plastic run around it. It might last, it might not, but now there's some gorgeous units out there, and I love the stuff that pops on and off, from like ice fishing to, like you said, the shuttles on the side of the boat, and everything's kind of contained, makes life a lot easier.
Yep.
So what's been Cedar Lake does Camus, Yarcraft, Crestliner. What is there one that's easier to work on, harder to work on?
Glass is always more time consuming. Just because of the procedure with drilling holes. Aluminum boats, you can use self tapper. We bolt 95% of our electronics, no matter if it's glass or aluminum. My thing's always been, because of running tournaments, I don't want people having problems with it. So we through bolt everything we can possibly through bolt. Where there's a lot of boat manufacturers, boat dealers out there. You buy a 9-inch unit, they screw it to the dash. If it's on a ram mount or not, they screw it down. I look at it as I wouldn't want the problem with my stuff.
Right.
The guys that are in my shop, I tell them, I'm like, last thing I want to do is have a problem on the water. So everything's through bolted stainless steel that we have access to on the underside.
Right. Yeah, I ran one unit that you don't have back in the day, a 4-letter unit that after every tournament I would have to go through and tighten things up on my dash because it just was screwed. They had these little, I can still remember, they had number 2 square head stainless steel screws, and basically everything that held the dash, the windshield down, and every tournament I'd have to go through and just kind of retighten everything and make sure everything stayed there, which is, it's kind of a pain, which is kind of why I went to class. But so is there a unit that's like a brand that's easier or harder to work on, or are they all about the same? How much stuff do you have to pull apart to do this?
A lot of times if customers seen their boat when we're working on it, they'd be like, wow, you took half the boat apart. But there's some that are easy. They have tubes in the side. I know you're running the Yarcraft. I'm running the Yarcraft. Yarcraft's pretty sweet how they have their gunnel system. They have glass plates in there, so you can get your hands up in there, work the wires across. Some of them, yeah, and it's trying to get a fish wire through the wires that were in from the factory, and 40% of the time you're through a set of wires and that plug gets stuck, and you get a little frustrated.
And this has got to be your busy time of year, I assume, to rig.
It's just starting to pick up. Right. A lot of the glass guys that are going to fish the rivers. Now we're supposed to have 70 degrees and then it's supposed to go back to 40. You will be getting phone calls, hey, can I pick up my boat early? And then it gets to 40 and I guess I'll pick it up. It's all about getting the boats in the people's hands. There's weeks where we deliver 20, 25 boats a week. Not all sold in 1 week, of course, but stuff that was previously sold. So you kind of try to spread it out, right? Instead of having the sales department deliver boats and they got 5 deliveries in one day, it doesn't do you any good to have them delivering 5 boats and there's nobody here to help sell boats at the time. So we break them up. try to spread it out so that we can help out everybody.
Wowzers. So how many boats do you rig brand new a year?
I don't know the exact number. I'm going to guess we're in between 250 to 300.
Whoa. 200 whole. I was thinking like maybe 100. Holy mackerels. How long does it take you to rig how long does it take you to rig say a weekend warrior versus a tournament guy's boat? Hour wise, is it like a couple days? Like how long does your boat take for you to rig?
I would put the time that I do in everybody's boat if I had that much time. I'm not rigging anybody's boat different than when I'm rigging mine. But because it's yours, if they're not telling you where they want it, me being in boats as much as I am, I can pretty much look at it, go, the graph's best here. You can see it from every location in the boat. I get fussy with my stuff, like, okay, I'm a troller. This year I didn't even put a graph in the front of my boat because I'm usually in the back. If I am throwing jigs, I'm usually still standing in the back of the boat. My bow mount's down, don't get me wrong, but I'm fishing off the back of the boat because of the transducers I'm running. Because I do run forward-facing Garmin sonar, the 34, but I also run a PS30 off the back. And I actually watch that PS30 more than I probably watch my forward-facing sonar.
Really?
Because I can shoot so far out to the sides when I'm salmon fishing. I can pick up my downrigger balls. And so many times on Green Bay, I've gotten burned in tournaments up there because how the current's pushing. Well, if you watch that PS30 and you have a lead weight down, you can watch it go off to one side or the other, which tells you which way the current's pushing your boat. We do it a lot salmon fishing. If them two downriggers are running at 8 feet out each side with how the angle's down, let's say you're down 50 feet, and my one ball's sitting there at 3 feet from the transducer, I know the current's pushing me that way. So it allows you to work the current more.
I gotcha. I assumed that that a tournament guy has more stuff and gadgets on a boat than somebody just bought a boat, like, for weekend fishing.
Some of the weekend guys, though, it's pretty crazy what they put on these things. They'll even tell you, well, I don't fish much, but I think it's they see all the podcasts, they see, Facebook media stuff. Oh, this guy's got it. This is how he was catching them, and they want to add it too. And it's kind of our specialty, really.
That's cool.
At the shop here, we like to customize a lot of stuff.
So, is it a whole day to rig one, or is it a couple days to rig a boat?
I'll just use Crestliner for an example. If we're rigging Crestliners, you're getting 2 graphs, trolling motor, you're going to be in it for 4 to 5 hours with putting batteries in, checking over everything, putting the walls back in after you get it all apart. Glass boats on average, some of them you're looking day and a half.
Wow. I didn't realize. I mean, I guess I knew it took a long time to do it. I just realized that you sold that you went through that many boats a year.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on, because I can see you're in the shop, so thanks for taking time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pontoons, everything. That's not just fishing boats, and
Gotcha.
we do sell a lot of used boats. We get a lot of trade-ins that we sell are here. But usually if somebody's buying a trade-in, they're not taking it how that customer had it set up. So we're putting graphs or upgrading a trolling motor, putting a kicker on. So there's always something to do on them.
What's been the hot ticket for last year? Is there anything special?
Glass has been going good. Back a couple of years ago, 1650, 1750 fish hawks and Crestliner were pretty crazy sales. You sold a lot of them, and it seems like people are going a little bigger. Myself, if Yarcraft built a little bigger boat, I probably would snap on it right away, because we both know you never have enough room.
No. And you're going on the big lake too. So is it hard for you to transition from one or the other, or is it just brackets that you're clipping on your?
No, so we put a lot of tracks on. I literally have my garage set up that rod wise, they're all hanging from the ceiling. I stand in the boat, put my walleye stuff away, grab my salmon gear. Have shelves in the garage. You know, you stand in the boat, you slide it off, you slide the walleye stuff on a different one, and loosely one of the aim tournaments falls on Salmon-Rama, which Salmon-Rama I pretty much live out of my boat. In between my truck and my boat for 9 days, my wife and daughter don't even see me, and literally I come back from the walleye tournament, and it literally in an hour and a half I can transfer it over when I get home, transfer the boat over, throw my stuff in, be in port, and put my boat in the slip. So overall, probably 3 hours to convert everything. So
That's not bad at all. Quick. That's not bad at all. Tell me about Salmon-Rama. So you spend all your time out of there. It's 9 days, a 1 week tournament.
9 days. I loosely miss 2 days, so I'm down there for 7. I live out of the boat in the truck.
How is that?
Not bad. You know, they got showers down there. I got a couple buddies that got big boats down there. I know enough of the charter boat guys that, you know, you get information from some information from the charter guys, you know, what's going on by the time I get there. But literally I have my nephews, my dad fish with me. They kind of take turns because we jump in the boat. Man, loosely we're on the water by 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's loosely 10 o'clock at night that we come in, and it's like, oh, that was a heck of a day. But they rotate. Yeah. I stay in the boat, and it's all based off of one big fish, realistically. Yeah. So it's that one bite. So trying to sleep, you know, somebody jumps in my boat, I'm like, well, I'm not falling asleep. That's when this thing's gonna bite, you know. So you stay up, and yeah, by the end of the week, you're beat.
I bet. That's a long day, you know, out on the big lake, getting rolled around all day long. Can get you. How does the yard craft operate out there? Pretty good.
Phenomenal. So on my 2016, I was using my bow mount for my steering, running autopilot that way. On my 2024, I put a Garmin Reactor 40 on it, so autopilot off my kicker, and fishing swells anything. It's unbelievable. Wow. You get a crosswind, the thing will hold you tight. You can literally, you're touching the screen and it's running that course. All your throttle control, I can do it all off the graph. So it's quite the system.
That makes life a lot easier then.
Yep. So realistically, you got a remote hanging on your neck if you want to. I got enough locators on the boat. You're always in arm's reach of one of them, and you can turn it. You can, you know, adjust your speed, anything you need to do right there.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Is there something that you want to see them come out with that would help, or is that pretty much everything you need right there?
Well, so this year on my new boat, and I'll have pictures of it coming out, but there's actually a night vision camera that's built, and it's going on the front of my boat. So when you're fishing in the dark, you know, with working here, we don't get a lot of time to fish realistically. I mean, even tournaments, I'm pre-fishing for 1 day, where you and I both know there's guys pre-fishing 3-4 days. Well, we don't have that kind of time. So even fun fishing, I like to fish a lot. So fun fishing, it's loosely in the dark. So I think this camera is going to be a game changer for that, because you control shorelines, all that, and it's like you're looking at daylight.
That's pretty awesome. I have seen those, or saw the plugins on the units where you can hook them up, and I'm like, God, I didn't realize you could get. I must be from anything. I always thought they were just a bigger version for bigger boats.
No, nope, so you can run it right through your Garmin graph. What's nice is I literally put 2 12s on my new boat in the back. So when I'm trolling, let's say you got a fish on, you know, and you're in a tournament, you got the two of you in the back of the boat. Instead of going, are we all right? I should be able to look at the one screen, have the camera up, and be like, nope, we're clear. So it's going to be a game changer. I mean, safety wise, you're still going to turn around, but you're not going to have to turn around and look out the front of the boat as much because of how wide the angle is on this camera.
That's awesome.
So I'm all about trying new product. You know, I try to run what I know is proven and that benefits me. But I look at it on my side of things is if I can run something, if you were to call in or a customer calls in and they say, hey, this ain't working or that ain't working, I can go back and be like, all right, click this menu, blah, 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 and go through it and get them back on the right page. When I originally started fishing tournaments, I was using Lowrance units. Then I switched to Bird because I figured I had Lowrance pretty figured out at the time. I went to Humminbird, had them menus all figured out. Thought, you know what, I need to try this forward-facing stuff. So I only had one Garmin on my boat. The rest was all Birds, and now I'm 100% Garmin. Not saying there's every one of them has their criteria of what's better. You know, mapping, whether it's mapping, side imaging, forward-facing sonar. Guys are like, what's the best? Well, it depends how computer literate you are, really. Right. I mean, if you're somebody that wants to turn on a screen and go, well, I'm going to recommend this, you know, versus somebody else's product that you have to change settings, or, you know what, you can really dial this thing in, but you got to get into the programs and really dial them in.
Right. That is true. That is true. I mean, I'll say it right off the bat. I've been complaining about it for years. I don't understand how the people that come up with GPS, Garmin has the worst maps, but whatever. I still love their units, still run them. Their maps bother me. I don't know if there's a card, I don't have the right card or something, but yeah, it's weird that everybody has their own kind of thing they're known for, right? And they kind of push into other groups for if it's forward-facing sonar. Now everybody has one now. So yeah, it's kind of weird, you know, when Humminbird came out with the side imaging, man, that was a game changer. And I don't think I've ever seen a side imaging as clear as Humminbird. I've seen a couple Garmin's that people had them dialed in pretty good that I had to pull my phone out and get their numbers on. But yeah, everybody kind of has their own little thing that they're known for. But you have to keep up on all these different models. Is that a pain in the ass for you? Or once you got the base, they kind of keep just growing off that base?
Once you get the base, it's not too bad. Like now that Humminbird came out with their Explorer series, I mean, the menus are pretty close, but to sit there and try to memorize it all in your head, I mean, there's times where I got to walk from my shop over to the sales shop and get on a demo unit, and I'll figure it out, but it might take me a little longer than when I ran their product. Same with Lowrance. Every now and then I got to call Mr. Klaus up and, hey, how's this with Lowrance unit? Because he knows that I'm running Garmin for the last couple of years too. But for the most part, you can figure it out and help the customer out.
So the one thing I was going to ask you is, now everybody, like all the units have seemed to be kind of trying to push into the trolling motor market. Is it a pain to go cross units from trolling motors to your electronics units? Or is it still pretty easy to do that? Or is it much easier just to stick with what you got and kind of try it all at one?
It's a lot easier if you have Minn Kota and you run Birds. You know, Lowrance running their new trolling motor Recon. Garmin run the Kraken or the Force. It's easier to connect them in. But you still get the guys, right, where they want live scope on their boat, so they want a Garmin, but yet they ran Birds all their life, and well, I need a Bird on my dash because I know how to run it. So I mean, the thing that narrows down to it is, you know, there's no way to link it all together. But being that you can control all these trolling motors off your locators plays a big part, especially when you're sitting behind the console. I don't know how much guys are doing it when you're up on using their bow mounts, controlling it off their locators. Trolling, I mean, it's versus having a remote around your neck, being able to hit the screen so that the trolling motor turns, I mean, is way beneficial for me versus having a remote hanging around my neck all day.
That's true. Yeah, having that, I know when I went from Birds to Garmin, I did miss that feature right off the bat. I'm like, man, that was pretty nice. That was pretty nice to be able to kind of basically just program it where you want the boat to go, and it just goes there for however long you have enough battery for, right? And once you have to go around the neck, it makes it life a little bit of a pain, but not terrible. It depends on how much. If I was a 100% troller, I'd probably link everything together to make my life a lot easier.
Yep, but not just me. I mean, the people that work our service counter, every one of them's up to date on crafts. Some of them don't even have boats, and they do their research on it. They're pretty good for not using a unit, on the weekends, stuff like that. We do have a lot of inventory in electronics here. Tracks. I don't know if you're running. I think you're running tracks on your boat, right, Matt?
Yep.
A lot of companies running tracks. What's nice about it is pretty much all the tracks, whatever accessories you buy from any of the companies, fits in anybody's track for the most part. But going back to what you said before, I mean, switching a boat over, it's a lot easier if you have a track system on it to switch stuff out.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of dealerships, I think, not saying that they don't sell tracks or whatever, but I don't think a lot of them carry the accessories that we carry. We're pretty big into, we want to be, you walk in, by the time you leave, you can go hit the water.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any place that I've even seen recently that has much of a selection at all of anything in regards to mounting anything on your boat. And you guys have basically, I believe, almost every piece of tracks that you can get if it's available at the time, not back order. Because I do.
Yeah, I mean, we have all the track tech. We have depth rater. We got rod boss, a lot of rod boss stuff here. But we literally have a whole aisle. I mean, the whole aisle is tracks and accessories, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. The last time I was in there, I just was down the aisle. I'm like, well, they have everything here. They have everything you possibly could need.
Right.
Okay. So now it's time for the Lure Lipstick question of the pod. Lure Lipstick, get hit on. What's the one thing that every person should do before they put their boat on the water this year if they're coming out of storage? What's one they should do first?
Please fire your motor up at your house. There's nothing worse than getting to a boat ramp and having that guy that's boat doesn't start. I think we've all ran into it, and he's blocking the launch up, which makes for a long day right off the get-go, right? Because we all want to go out and fish. Make sure your batteries are charged. That's the other one. A lot of dead batteries. People don't disconnect their batteries over the winter. They don't have a full charge on it. It draws. No matter what, a boat has a draw. I don't care what it is, unless you have a cutoff switch. If that battery's not fully charged with the cold, it's going to drop the voltage down far enough. It might crank it, but it's not going to crank it fast enough to fire. So that would be the two things that I would say people need to do. They need to charge their battery, fire their boat up, before you get to a boat launch, especially when boat launch start getting packed here pretty quick.
Right. Yeah. It's funny when in the springtime comes, it's the only time we're okay being so tight with everybody. But it's also the time where everybody's the first time they've been in their boat for 6 months or whatever, and then nothing's working properly. They don't remember how to use the trolling motor and all that kind of fun stuff. It's pretty crazy, and it's pretty. Already Green Bay has been open for, I believe, 2 weeks now, so it's been a lot of people out. I've been thoroughly surprised. Everybody's kind of ice went crap real quick, and all the boats are getting pulled out.
Have you been out yet, Matt, or not?
I have not. The boat is in my driveway. It is pretty much ready to go. I take all my electronics, my boxes, the black boxes off, all the batteries out. So I just put everything back in yesterday, charging. So my plan is to hit Saturday and De Pere and play bumper boats with everybody else when it hits that 60-degree mark.
Sure.
Right. Are you tired of the same old plastic patterns and colors? Well, check out LureLipstick.com. You will find the best hand-painted infused plastics on the market. And the best part, they're made right here in Michigan. New for this year, the Pro Swimmer and Jerk Shad model to go along with the world-famous Split Tail series. Lure Lipstick also has a wide variety of attractants in wax and liquids. And remember, they're the home of the famous perch jelly. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, Lure Lipstick. Get hit on. I suppose you don't get out much at all probably this time of year, I'm guessing.
If you know how many times I got invited to Erie even in the spring here, and we're busy enough where, I'd drive down there, I'd have to fish for half a day and turn around and drive back home. Right. So to me, that's not, takes the fun out of it with all the traveling going down there. But up here, yeah, until our first tournament, I'll probably take my new boat out and put it in at Port Washington, run down to Milwaukee, break the motor, and come back. And then the first time I probably fish will be the first AIM tournament.
That's the life of a boat rigger. That's crazy. But it's funny because everybody has one of you on speed dial, and I think that's just hilarious that you guys don't get to fish at all, but everybody that's fishing has to have one of you to get to go fishing. Isn't that kind of ironic in a way?
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it because I know you fish a lot of the AIM tournaments too. I think you fished the whole series. But usually in the morning, I'm tinkering with somebody's stuff, or getting asked questions in the morning. I mean, we jump in the boat and you want to tie up what you're going to run for that day because we don't do it at night.
Yep.
And literally somebody's coming up asking you something, or how do you fix this? Some guys are getting good at it, and their buddies are helping them out. But I know when I originally first started fishing tournaments, cripes the back of my truck was half tools because I was like, I'm going to help somebody.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean it's weird. I do tell everybody that they should do as much rigging as they possibly can on their boat. It will save you on the lake tournament time so much. Just understanding how your stuff works with everything, and how, I don't know of anybody that's ever spent any time tournament fishing and not catastrophic, but had serious downtime because something's gone bad, a battery's gone, especially now with everything being battery, and we're pushing our batteries as to the very edge. If it's powerful charge or whatever we're relying on, there's always something that goes bad if you don't understand electrical systems, or you at least know a little bit about your motor to be able to get yourself back to shore, or to kind of troubleshoot it enough, right? Because when you don't, you do feel kind of just, you're lost. There's no hope for you, right? And you're just hoping for somebody else. And if you can troubleshoot just a little, life is so much better.
Right. And going back to the whole battery thing, I mean, that's a lot of the problem. These guys putting all these locators on, forward-facing sonar, running three graphs. If you don't have a house battery in there and you're running off your starting battery, I mean, what kind of time frame do you look at, right? You ain't making it a tournament day. You and I both know that, and there's a lot of other guys that know that, without having some kind of charging system or a house battery that we can fire up the big motor and charge that electronics battery during the day. You get a lot of guys, they bring their boats in and, hey, my graph's turning on and off, or my graph shut down, battery voltage is low, and whether they bought it from us years ago before everybody started running house batteries, or picked it up at a different dealership and there's one battery in it, and you go, well, you really should have another battery, and they didn't tell me that, and that's the other package that I will say that we've been installing a lot of, is guys that are buying more and more electronics are learning, hey, I need a house battery. I need an isolator to keep this all charged up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it does help a lot. I mean, I have my house battery, my starting battery, and I was actually debating just pulling off there and doing a whole nother battery just as a backup, just in case, or just put my electronics off it. I haven't had any issues, but I often wonder, because the electronics need a certain amount of voltage and all that kind of stuff. And to me, in the course of the day, sometimes my stuff doesn't quite work as well as it does in the morning. Is that because I'm getting run down and, having to have the battery run for an hour to charge things back up? I always wonder if it just would be better off me to throw, because they're so light now, and they're actually, there's companies out there that are affordable. They're not, you don't have to spend the $1,200 on the blue and red ones anymore. There's other ones out there that are a lot cheaper that you can get into the market for no problem. To have something extra on the boat, it's been in the back of my mind all winter. Like, I had an issue with my power pole charge last year, and I had to replace that. And other than that, I think I've been the only person that hasn't had issues with them, because everybody says they're garbage. But mine the first one I had ran for since it first came out, it ran no problem for 3 years, and it only went to crap because I smudged it on not put my plug in one day. So, that's on me, not on anybody else, right? So
Right.
I haven't had any issues that way, but I've always thought about just adding an extra battery, especially in the aircraft. There's all kinds of room, that
Yep.
spot underneath the driver's there. It's tough to get in there anyways. Kind of a great place to put a battery in the bottom of there. So that may I may add one of those just for the extra oops, days.
Yeah, I just did one boat. I mean, literally the customer's got 7 batteries in it. He's a tournament guy, but there's 7 batteries in his boat. And you can take up a lot of room pretty quick when you start running that kind of batteries with trolling motors and live scope. But most boats, yes, there is room for another battery somewhere. You might have to drill some holes to get wires through or whatever, but there's always a compartment to put another battery.
And I do like that the shuttles that they're coming out with for the secondary units, that their batteries they just leave the same battery in them. That their just batteries are all encompassed in there, and they don't have to. I mean, that's the one thing I don't like about my second live scope unit. I have to run a cord through and all that kind of fun stuff, which is fine during term season. But when you want to go out with your family, then I have to pull this whole cord to get this big bar off there if I don't want the bar hanging out. Where the new shuttles, man, you just clip that thing on, the battery's in there, everything's in there. It's all like a self-contained unit. I mean, I would kind of worry about running full speed with that thing sitting off the side of my boat, but other than that, it's kind of cool that they kind of have everything together.
Right.
So what's the one thing you don't like doing when you're rigging your boat? What's the one thing you wish that you could call in sick and somebody else would take care for you? What's the worst part of rigging a boat?
Well, honestly, I really don't.
No?
I would probably say my worst thing, and it's not really boat. It's literally narrows down the pontoons. If you knew how much I hate electric anchor mates, especially how pontoons are built now when they're all sheeted on the bottom and trying to get wires through. That was probably my one thing that I really hated. I mean, power poles, it's time consuming. It ain't bad. I just put on a Camus, I just put power brakes on it. That wasn't really as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was pretty simple.
And so the power brakes go on the power pole, correct?
Correct.
So that's a whole separate, so you put the power poles on and then you have to attach the brakes to them, and it's a separate system?
Yep. So the one I put on was two 50-pound thrust. It's realistically the bottom gear case of a trolling motor. And it's got forward and reverse. So, I mean, to slow your boat down for the guys that are jig fishing, unbelievable.
Yeah,
I
have seen those in action with Mr. Joe Okada. They look pretty cool. They look very interesting devices.
And Joe's videos made it out there a long way because we've been getting more and more calls on them. And first thing out of their mouth is, well, I seen them on Joe's boat.
Right? Joe's had them for a couple years too, I feel like.
I know it wasn't last year. I don't think was the first year. I don't know how many years he's had them, but
I think he's had them 2 years.
Ran something either that or something close to it before.
Right. I get it. It makes sense. To me, the back of the boat is a very a great place to fish out of. And the more stuff gets put back there, especially for a river guy, I love having the trolling motor and you're working out of the back of the boat or casting the current seams or whatever. And then I see all these boats with all these sticks hanging up the back and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, that really cuts a lot of fishing off the back of the boat. It makes, if you were trolling and you had all that stuff up the back, granted, sometimes you'd have it down to, keep around to be, but that takes a lot of room out of the back of the boat. That's the one thing I've kind of surprised that people are okay with just getting rid of the back of the boat.
Right.
Is there a lot of troll motor or kickers going on still, or are we into the one kicker, one power pole world?
Yeah, I'm myself. If I'm selling one of the glass boats, I try putting a kicker on whatever I can, especially if they're fishing big water. There's a lot of guys that, they'll try saving the money on the kicker, go to a brushless trolling motor, put lithium batteries in and think they're going to sit there and pull crankbaits all day. And they can get close, and there's probably some out there that can do it. My big thing is you're 15 miles from where you launched, and something does happen to your big motor. More than likely that trolling motor, by the time you get there, you might as well have supper ready, right?
Right. Yeah. I know a lot of guys that have made it back in, sit in the back of the boat driving that kicker.
Correct.
It's a good insurance policy to have out there. I
Yep,
always
for
thought,
sure.
right? It's funny because I mean, I don't run mine too much, but I find, even if I am in the spring or something, or when the current's going. I know a lot of people do it when they're pulling flies in the river, right? I mean, the current's super strong, and you put a kicker on there, you throw it a little bit, you don't burn your battery down as much. It's kind of just one of those things, an extra tool. I've thought about putting a power pole on, but only for the reason of pre-tournament when you're waiting to not have to worry about driving nonstop. That's the one thing I'm pretty jealous of every morning when it's tournament time, the wind's blowing and I got to constantly drive or put my trolling motor down. Everybody else just puts the stick down and calls it a day.
Right. Yep, that's the only time I think it would be nice, like, especially the Winnebago system, everywhere we launch out is super shallow, right? So you
Right,
drop
yeah.
that down. I mean, I'm constantly too. I'm firing up my big motor, backing up from somebody because you got a little bit of wind in these places, and that's the only thing personally I would be using it for because I don't fish a lot of shallow water.
Yeah. And even then, like it's funny, and I've always wanted to talk to Max about this, is that I see them on there all the time, but there's places where they just don't, like, okay, if you're in deep water, you're not going to use them. Makes sense. But like I see him in shallow water, but I don't see him using them. I don't know if there's a reason for that spot why he's not using them, or why they're not using them in these spots that want to scare the fish, or if the current's too much for them, or I feel like they don't get utilized the way they're intended. I feel like they're like more of a different use of they're more for slowing the boat down, things like that, than there are for actually holding them in the exact position. Is what walleye guys seem to be using it for, in my opinion.
Right, or the guys have blades on there to try to reduce the surge. When you're fishing big swells. I know Cavias has done it. When Max had his kicker on, I'm pretty sure he was doing it. But I think now with these power brakes, and then they have the crappie brakes. I know there's a couple companies that once this all got out there, that more people were digging into it. So I think there's a couple companies actually building it. But I think now that you have that, I think you're going to see more and more people going to that.
Yeah, it does make sense. It's kind of a cool thing, especially springtime. That would be pretty awesome to have those going on in the springtime. So, as talking for boats, you obviously run a Yarcraft.
Yep.
Why do you run a Yarcraft?
So
you've been a boat guy since you were in high school, and you're running a Yarcraft, and you can run other things. So obviously, I got to know why Yarcraft fits your. I know why it fits my fancy, but why does it fit your fancy as a guy that's spent your whole career in the boat world?
So I fished when I first started fishing tournaments. I ran Crestliner. Then I went to Starcraft, and then so all aluminum boats. Then I went back to a Crestliner, and I ran Crestliner, and we were up in Little Bay to Knock, and my dad had a glass boat. That's what we used to salmon fish out of, and I always knew glass being heavier, it was going to cut the waves a little better than what an aluminum boat would, just because of the weight. And we got up to Little Bay to Knock, and we had a small craft advisory, and they canceled the tournament. And a lot of people know him. Ron Gladowski says, "Hey, you always said you wanted to ride in this thing. You want to go for a ride?" And I'm like, "Well, you're crazy, And we jumped in that thing, and he's like, "You drive." Well, I'm in somebody else's boat. I'm not going to go out there and bang through big waves. So I was taking my time, having a nice, comfortable ride. And he's like, "I thought you were going to get on this thing." He's like, "Let me show you how to drive it." So he gave me a ride across this stuff, and I was like, "This thing's sweet."
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of aluminum boat companies out there. Everybody tries to get it where you don't have spray coming back at you. I will definitely say when I got in that boat, and you had a couple drops on the windshield, it was like, dude, this thing's sweet, and I liked how it cut the waves. And we weren't a dealer even for Yarcraft at the time. That's the funny thing. And one of the dealers in the area went a different route, and at the time the rep called us up, and Ron and I know Bob Klaus were like, "Hey, you guys might be able to get into Yarcraft." And I'm like, "Brian, we need to get these things in here. I mean, I'll buy one of them, you know. And we sold one before we even got it in. The guy custom ordered one, and so that was the first boat. The second boat I sold to a guy, just explaining what I had with riding a 219, how I liked the ride. He bought one, so I actually drove his boat before mine even got here. Went out just show him how everything worked, and then mine came in, and I ran that boat, and I just fell in love with the ride. So ran that boat for 5 years, and then when they revamped the hull in 2019, so 2020, when the 219 got revamped, I was like, all right, I'd get people riding my boat, and they're like, oh, so it's the same as this? And I'm like, well, they changed the layout inside. Well, try to sell a boat that they changed something, and people are like, well, it's not the same. It's not the same, even though it's the same hull underneath.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess I'm buying a new boat. So I got my 2024, fell in love with that thing, and had 120 hours on the big motor. And I was like, you know what? I didn't even advertise it. We had a guy that came in looking for a used glass boat. I told him, thinking about selling mine, and he says, I'll take it. And I'm like, all right. I walked inside. I'm like, Brian, we need to order my new boat.
That's awesome.
Here we are putting a third one together.
Yeah, when they revamped that boat, I know it's been a slow go for them. I see more and more and more and more Yarcrafts every year, but that revamp in 2020 or whatever it was, man, that is a hell of a boat. What it is now is just, finishing tournaments and fishing different people. I'm sure you have, and I've had to ride into a bunch of different boats, all the major boats. I've been in most of them. I don't know if I'll ever not own a Yarcraft. I really don't. They'd have to do something pretty drastic to anger me. But that boat it rides great. It's not heavy like some of the other boats, and just everything about it. I mean, if you're a troller, it's a great trolling boat. And if you like to be up front, there's a lot of room up front. It's kind of it's a weird good mix where some of them are lean heavy towards one or the other, and it's tough to do the other way. But I think that revamp and they look great. The color selection, some of the colors I see out there, I'm like, damn, these guys are really the light blues and stuff like that out there. Because I think when I first got mine, you had one. Robert wasn't around much. Joe wasn't around much in my area. So it was me and some older boats from like the early, the older models around. And now I don't think I've ever go on Bago and not see 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. There's all kinds of them now. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty awesome, actually.
When I got rid of my 2016, I thought I was the only one that had that color, and then yours was the same color, and I'm pretty sure your brother's was the same color.
Yeah.
And, it was like, wow, somebody would be like, I just seen you. No, you didn't. I'm on the other side of the lake,
Right. It's nice seeing around though. People, I haven't heard a bad thing out of people complaining about them. I know there's been a couple issues here and there, but that's every manufacturer, you manufacture anything, there's going to be an issue every now and then. And
every boat company somewhere could improve something. Not saying every boat out there, but whether it's a little flaw here or a little flaw there. Right. But if you like, I do a lot of talking with engineers from the manufacturers we deal with, and if you tell them and like, hey, I'm going to help you save some money, if it's something you see once or twice that's consistent, and all of a sudden you'll get another one in, and they fixed it. So it's pretty cool how they take the knowledge from, they're not just doing it through their plant. They're listening to the dealers because, whether it's a warranty claim, right, or something that's going to fail, and they're listening to everybody. If you can fix it, right? Everybody wants something that doesn't have a problem. I mean, whether it's a truck, anything.
Yeah, I just like that they did for so long. There's a couple companies that just did the exact same thing for so long, didn't change nothing, and the fact that they changed things and what they did to that boat and how they with it, all the little different little itty bitty things they did to it, right? It's like you can change your boat, and it's now seeing other companies finally implementing new things. You don't have to have you don't have to have a bass boat. You just make it deeper, right? You can do things to make it better for every kind of individual. If it's a walleye guys, multi-species guys, or bass guys. I like that they make those little changes every year, and not worrying about what people think, and it helps us in the long run instead of running the exact same model. Some of these other companies have been around forever. It's the same exact everything for 15 years. It's like, come on, man, you can find a better place to put a net or this or that, or fix your live wells. But yeah, I absolutely love it. The first time I stepped in it was I think the year before I bought it, the winter before I bought it. Robert was working for you guys out of Milwaukee, and he had one down there, and I jumped in it, and I looked at my wife, and I'm like, I think this may be our next boat. And then fast forward like 4 months later, I had my own, so that was pretty awesome. How long, in general, like even Camus or Yarcraft, if a guy comes in and orders, how long does it take for them to get a boat?
If you order them, the time frames all vary depending on time of year, of course. Like right now, you just had a bunch of boat shows, so they're trying to get the orders done that everybody ordered from the boat shows. But like us, I mean, we went way beyond this year. We stocked a lot of boats. Right now, I think I'm sitting with, I believe the number is 7 Yarcrafts I got sitting here. In between 210 and 219s. I think we're sitting with four or five Camuses right now. And everyone has a different color scheme, right? Well, even if it's the same model, different horsepower, 250 or 300 on the 210. The aluminum boats, I mean, them we stock the heck out of too. I mean, we got a lot of inventory to turn. One thing I will say, if people do want to come look at boats, we have our in-house boat show starting March 11th to the 15th. And we have almost all our staff here them days, whether you're looking at electronics, you need parts, sales, you just want to stop in and look at boats. I mean, the sales are great right now because we have enough in inventory. We're a lot of dealers. I mean, when I was at the boat show and the couple times I did get to walk around before the show, it's amazing how many dealers had so many 2025s and you barely seen a 26.
Wow.
And we had quite a few 25s, but everything we had down at that show was 2026, and 25s. I think we're almost out. There's maybe 1 or 2 left if I remember right. But it's a great time to come down. I think Robert Klaus is coming down to help out that show. We'll have some pro staff guys walking around. I mean, if you want to talk to them about running rough water or whatever, I'll be here answering questions. Our sales department, I mean, everybody will be here for them days to help answer questions. You need pricing on boat, you want to trade a boat, whatever. We're all about trying to get people out on the water, whether they already have a boat and they're looking to buy something new, or, like I said, we got some used boats here that a lot of them are in real nice shape. People ain't holding on to boats like they used to. I mean, the guys that have a 3-4-year-old boat, it's, after the whole COVID thing, they bought a boat and, well, it doesn't fit my needs. So they're trading them in and buying something that, okay, this is what we do. We spend more time fishing than we do pleasure boating. Yep. Mm-hmm. So you see quite a few newer trades coming in with low hours on them. So I don't know. I think all dealers are that way. But definitely stop by, check it out. We'll definitely have answers for whatever questions you have.
Awesome. So going back to your world, troller, what's your favorite? Are you a live bait guy or cranks, or what's your secret to trolling? No one trolls anymore. What's your secret?
I used to love the troll spinner rigs. I mean, just because you were going slow, you could actually feel the fish, really fighting. And up on Green Bay, yep, it came down to the current thing. I got burned too many times, and you don't cover a lot of water. We all know that. If you're doing 2 miles an hour or 1.8 trolling crankbaits and a mile an hour pulling spinners, how much water do you cover? If you're not using your live scope or whatever to figure that out. So we do a lot more crank pulling again, pulling cranks just because we can go through them faster. And you know what? If that bite shuts down and I know that pot of fish is there, and I'm switching back to crawlers.
I gotcha. Awesome. Well, thanks for being on. I got one more question for you. If you could only go fishing one more time, who you taking? Where you going? What you doing?
Honestly, I'd probably take my dad, and I'd probably take him out salmon fishing.
Oh yeah. Any place particular?
Wouldn't really matter. I mean, we fished Port Washington most of our life. Just fun getting the family out.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on, Ben. If you're looking to be on an episode of Walleye Chronicles, hit me up on my socials at Matt Snell on Facebook or Instagram, or Smile and Fish on TikTok. Remember, there's 2 things you can do every day to give somebody a great day. 1 is take them fishing, and 2 is give them a smile. And that concludes another episode of Walleye Chronicles. Hey, if you can do me one favor, wherever you're listening, can you hit that like and subscribe button? It actually really does help in the long run. And if you know somebody or want to be on an episode of Walleye Chronicles, hit me up on my socials at Matt Snell on Facebook or on Instagram, or Smile and Fish on the TikTok. And keep your eye out. Early 2026 merch. It's coming, everybody. So thanks a lot again for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.